Good morning, good morning. Okay. So, good morning. I have some great news. Welcome Saturday. It's Saturday morning. And I'm going to tell y'all, I'm doing my little foot soak right now. I'm multitasking. I have my Epsom salt and my little essential oils, and my feet are just doing wonderful. But anyway, I am super excited this morning. First of all, life has different opportunities. And today I want to talk about, so you want to be a landlord. Do you have what it takes to be a landlord? Yes. Do you have what it takes to be a landlord? It takes about 7 different things to be a landlord. Okay, number one, money. You got to have money. Now, money has to be like real money that you can put your hands on, or it could be money where you go and get a loan. But that is the thing. And let me tell you why this money is so important. I'm trying to set this on do not disturb. Okay, great. So, first of all, you have to have, I shouldn't say money. If you want to be a landlord, the first thing you have to consider is resources. Those resources can come in the form of money, like real tangible green dollars, okay? Or it can come in the form of you refinancing another house to take the money out, like the equity, all of that. But you need the resources to be able to do it. And that's not what I'm here to talk about. The only thing I'm here to say is you need resources, okay? So the first thing you need is the resources. Second thing is you need to have a landlord mindset. And that is something that it kind of evolves because you first have the desire to be a landlord, okay? You get excited, but there are different things about being a landlord. I've been a landlord since 2013, and I tell you, it has its ebbs and flows. The mindset of a landlord is, first of all, that's no longer the house that you're going to be living in. So take away that it's my house. Yes, you own it, but now other people are going to live in it. And they're not going to make it as perfect as you had it. Now, sometimes you might get someone that's obsessive, but most of the time you have to let that go. Let go of how the house looked when you were there, how the yard looked. And the mindset is this is rental property. This is a way of me making income. Okay, this is another way for me to have another stream of income. When you do that and let it go, let it go, let it go, you may or might not ever go back to living that property again. Now, you want people to take care of it, but don't aggravate people. Like really, don't aggravate them. As long as the walls and the roof and everything is intact, you just want to go ahead on. Now, another mindset of the landlord is aggravating people. Oh, you just calling them and you're calling them and you're calling them and you're dropping by. No, whatever your lease agreement is, you have to give them notice that you're going to come over. The only way you can pop over, if you've been trying to reach them and you need to do a wellness check, they're not responding texts and emails and phone calls, and you know that habit for them is not right, and then you contact the emergency person. They should give you emergency contact. Have you heard from Bob? I just want to know. Oh, they're in Bermuda. Well, you didn't know that, so that's fine. But you don't want to harass and stalk your renters. So that mindset is, well, I own this house and I can check on it every time I want to. No, no, no. Don't be that type. And the other thing is, don't be a slumlord. When they calling you, you need to pick up that phone because it could be emergency. The water could be messed up, like the plumbing, the heating and air. You want to be that good landlord. Now, every time my person has called me, before I can hang up the phone, good, I'm already texting my people because you should have in your back pocket your electrician, your plumbers, your AC unit type people, and then you're just your average old fixer up carpentry type person, and being able to tell your person, oh, they're going to be able to come tomorrow, or they're going to be able to come. And don't tell them when they're going to come. You say, is this a good time? These people have jobs, they have children, they have lives to do. And so you coordinate that. So that mindset is really important. Your mindset. The next thing is being able to deal with tenants. And there's a difference between mindset and tenants. Your tenants come in different forms. And when I say tenants, I'm going to tell you the type of tenants I've had. I've had white tenants. I've had black tenants. I've had male tenants. I've had female tenants. I've had veterans. I've had old tenants. I've had transgender. I've had lesbian. I've had every type of tenant. I've had Section 8. Every type of tenant, and they're all different. You don't stereotype them and you don't assume, because they're going to show you who you are. I've had single people. I've had married people. I have people with children, people that didn't have children. That pretty much is the gamut, okay? Every one of these groups of people have different personalities, and they come with their own different set of issues. As a landlord, you have to be able to deal with your different types of tenants. You have tenants that meet all these different qualifications. They got in there, but they might not be timely payers. So you might have to do a reminder. I set my reminder 5 days before to remind them that the rent is due. Sometimes they need that. And it's just a little text or email, depending on how, because I asked them, how do you want me to contact them? Do you want me to contact you in the day or do it at night? Because they might be a night shift person. I got a guy, those guys work nights, and they're on call. So I try to be very cognizant when I contact them, okay? And if it's not an emergency, you don't need to bother people. The other thing is your tenant temperament. Some of them think you're trying to spy on them. So you got to let them know, I'm just calling for this. And half the time you don't have to call. You could text them or send an email. It is important to develop a relationship with them based on who they're going to tell you. I don't like you calling me at 2:00. I don't like you talking to my husband. I want you to talk to me. Whatever. I like to deal with the person that is on that lease that's paying that money. Okay. So you can say whatever you want to. You might not want, but you need to be on this phone with me. But I'm going to talk to your husband because he's the one that I need to get my money from. Now, sometimes you have to put people in their place. You be nicey nice. And then I had someone to tell me, I said, ma'am, you can't have anybody over 7 days. Well, the neighbors told me that she had moved her uncles in. Where are they going to go? They got put out. Ma'am, I understand that I'm going to give you 2 days to help them to find another family member for them. But you are actually breaking your lease and you could be evicted today. So you have to talk to them. Go back to the lease. Don't start getting ghetto, fabulous, and condescending to people. You go back to the lease, go back to the agreement, talk to them as if they're human beings, like they are, and how you want to be treated. Now, that's just it. If you do human interaction, loving people how you want to be loved and treated, then you're going to go fine. Then you're going to have those people that's just going to go off on you and act a fool no matter what. And then you have to decide how you're going to handle that. Make sure everything is clear on your lease, how things should be happening. You can't make stuff up as you go. If it's not written in the lease, you can't assume anything. If you want them to water that grass twice a month, twice a week, you need to have it. If you want them to do the backyard, you need to do the backyard. Everything has to be spelled out. And that is how the temperament of your tenant will be based on that lease, because they know up front. And then those other temperaments, those are personality traits. You're going to deal with those same personality traits on your job, in life, at the restaurant. That's just it. But you have to realize that it's about business and standing on business and being professional, okay? Now, if you're dealing with the corporate person, your conversation is going to be different when you're dealing with someone that's might be in a lower social economic status. You don't want to try to use those $1 million words. You just want to say, when is a good time for us to talk? Just use wisdom. Now, temperaments of your tenants, very, very important. The next thing is landlord stress. Let me tell you what a landlord stress is. Two different type of stress. One landlord stress is that house or that property is not paid for, so you're dependent on that patient of that patient. I'm going back to nursing. You're dependent on that tenant to pay that on time because you have a note and you don't have any extra money. That's a stress on the landlord. I try not to have anything where I don't have 2 or 3 months of that amount there. Now my properties are paid for. But when I did have property that had a note, I had 3 months of that in advance because something could happen. Remember, COVID came, people don't have money, or life changes. You cannot be stressed. Financial stress on a landlord because you're dependent on the tenant to give you money to make that note. Now, the note that I have, I made $700 over what the mortgage was for that. So I had an increase, but I still had that amount, 3 months of that in an account. And yes, it was collected interest like 4.5%, but it was readily accessible to me if something popped off and they couldn't pay their rent. So landlord stressors are worrying about, oh, I don't have enough money to fix that leaky roof. See, when you're financially strapped as a landlord, you need about $2,000 emergency fund for that property. Okay. And if nothing else, at least $1,000 because deductibles and things like that. But 2,000 is what I would recommend for a home dwelling. A commercial property, I'll tell you about 5,000. Like you need to have readily accessible money because if one of those units go out in a commercial property, you know what I'm saying. So the financial part of being a landlord is very stressful. Now, my property in Georgia paid for, and it's been paid for years, since 2016, and I don't have any stress for that because there are those tenants, they pay on the 24th the month before, the 24th the month before the next first. I have no problem. Now, even if they didn't pay, it's not going to affect my household because that money is still extra money. I'm debt free. That's extra money. I don't need that money. It is a blessing to have it, but it's not stressing me out. So that's what I'm talking about, stresses of landlord. Now, when you have multiple properties and you don't have people to fix things, that could be a stressor for you. You might have the money, but you don't have, so you should have you at least a plumber and a backup plumber because people are busy. So every service that you need to have a backup because that person might not can come for 1 or 2 weeks and you might need something now. Now this is me, I don't believe in having those warranties because by the time you pay $40 a month, then when they come, it's $40. It's just not good. Take that $40 and put it in an account and let it go up and make you about $500 or $600, and you can replace a microwave and those little things. I'm a firm believer. They always trying to get you. They're not about trying to really replace. They just trying to give you a little bit of money. It's just not worth it. Take that $40 or $80 a month, whatever they charge you, have the discipline, put it in a different account. Let it make a little money for you and use that when you need it. All right. So these are the stressors that can come with it. Now, the other thing is money, commingling your money with their money. I tell you, you need to have a different account, because if you're robbing Peter to pay Paul in your own personal finances and you become a landlord and you start commingling that money, you need to know how much money you have for that rental and how much you have for your home personal stuff. Don't mix it. Please. When they give you the deposits, make that separate, okay? And make it written that if they're going to get any interest off of that or however, everything should be lined out. But don't be stressed and put the money together. No, and no. All the money for the rental property should be separate. Okay, your emergency funds, your deposits, as well as your monthly rents. All right, because from that you're going to be able to pull from what? Property tax, if like for me, I have to pay my property tax. I have to pay the homeowners homeowners fees monthly, and then the homeowners insurance because I own it. That comes out when you're buying it. All of that except the homeowners is coming out of your mortgage. Okay, and so for me, I have all that stuff over to the side. Okay, or you can say one of those mortgages, one of those payments that from the tenant, maybe you get 1,500 from the tenant. You say that first month, I'm gonna put it over to the side, and that's what I'll use for the rest of the year for anything they need. I'm telling you, do not mess with these people's money. When it's time for them to go, you need to give them their deposit back. If they mess things up, you want to be able to take that money from them and then give them back what is left. And you also should, to decrease stress when it's time for them to leave, you don't even have to physically go there. I have my people do a video. Like I'm talking to them and we're video and I can see, I say, oh, let me see up there. Let me see this. Let me see that. When I'm doing a detail one, when I'm just doing but you need to see every aspect because as a landlord, before they move out, you need to think about what will I have to spend to make this flip this really quick so my next person can get in. Now, let me tell you something about me. I have not had that property more than a week. And that's because I had painters come and they kind of was taking too long. But other than that, by the time one get out, the weekend, if they leave on a Friday, by Monday, the next people are in there. Because all you got to do is go in there clean. And then the last thing you do is you sweep your way out or vacuum your way out. And then you let your carpet people come in and it's a done deal. Okay? So you have to have a routine. Now, if you have property managers, then they handle all that. The other thing with a property manager, and you have to pay them 10% and probably the first month rent. That's on you. You have to make that decision. Now, if you're already struggling to pay that note, maybe the property manager is not for you. Maybe you have to be the property manager. But those things are what decreases your stress or add to your stress. All right. And then finally, advertising. You make sure that when you advertise, whatever is in that lease, you have that and you put it on your bullets. However you advertise, Craigslist, Facebook, however you, sometimes at the colleges, but make sure that it's very detailed as to what expectations. No smoking, no pets, or you're going to have pets. What size? Is there a pet policy? Is there a monthly for the pet or is it a one time? Will they get the deposit back? Those things need to be very clear. Now, if you go on Zillow and you post it there, I'm saying it Zillow, they will give you templates. A sneeze is coming. They will give you a template. Excuse me. Excuse me. They will give you templates for the lease for you to use. And they also have a place where they can pay $25 to $45 and they do the background checks and you have to do none of that. They do all of that themselves and it comes into your envelope, your folder envelope, so you can see on the computer if this is a viable candidate. The background checks and the credit report, all of that. I really like using that. That is like phenomenal. And they have other ones that you can use. But these are things that decrease your stress. And that way you don't get people that can't afford it. It's clear. This is $2,500 a month. This is only 1,500 square feet or whatever. They need to know what they're getting. 2 bathrooms, and pictures, great pictures. Now, I'm going to tell you that in the 11 years that I've been a landlord, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. The woes for me was my Section 8 tenant. Section 8 is just not what it is. It's not the tenant because she was Section 8. It was the tenant because of who she was. She was very deceptive, very manipulative, and she just couldn't afford it. And I really blame Section 8 because she just couldn't afford it. Within the first 6 months, she couldn't pay the bigger amount. So they had to flip it, and she paid the small amount, and they paid the bigger amount. and it was always something with being late. And I even gave her 7 days. I didn't say you had to be on the first or the third. I gave it to the seventh. It was always the 12th or the 15th before she paid. And she would pay that extra $75. Like, she just did not have it together. She wouldn't keep the yard together. And then when we finally got in there, no thanks to Section 8, they would not let me in there. And that's a whole nother story. But feces, all the blinds, this was a rehab, new place. Feces, all the blinds, like feces in the ceiling they had toward the toilet. Like, they really put a bad taste in my mouth. That is the worst I've ever had. Other people might pay late, might talk trash, but they never destroyed the property. Now, they might have not had it ready turnkey, but it wasn't destroyed. So in addition to getting the carpet cleaners in there, I might have had to do some deep cleaning or something. But that's different between filth and tearing up. Like, all the blinds were torn. Like, you just let your children that is what I'm saying. And you have to have a real constitution. You have to be really, really knowing that out of 11 years you had one. I don't think that's too bad. I don't think that's too bad. And you have to realize that some people will always be renters. If you get a tenant that treated that home like it's theirs, you never have to worry, because they're in the next phase to try to purchase a home for themselves. But if you get these people that just, they just have a tenant mindset or rented mindset, those people, it's very hard, very hard. And you can't wait for the lease to be over. You just can't wait. So, like I said, the lady with her 4 kids and the stool and the bowel movement and the dirty diapers, oh, it was horrible. Left all kinds of stuff in there. You could tell these people just move every year, and it's just amazing. But as a landlord, these are some of the woes. And you can evict people, and make sure you have all of that in your lease. I'm not into evicting folks unless it's really, really bad. And I knew that Section 8 knew that place was bad, because in November, the lease was over in February. They knew when they did an inspection. They knew that place looked like that. There's no way that lady did that in 3 months. But Section 8 is what it is. You can't discriminate against people. And every Section 8 person is not like this lady. I just realized she was one that made excuses, and she just will always be back into an apartment, with 4 kids and a 2-bedroom. That's just a lot. But, and that's not your personal issue. You have to stand on business, okay? Stand on business. So these are some of the woes. So when I say you think you want to be a landlord, or so you want to be a landlord, you need to look back at some of these things, review this video, and think about it. Making sure you have resources, making sure your mindset is right, understanding the tenant and the woes of having money, not having money, and being stressed, the stresses of being a landlord. At the end of the day, it will work out for you if you want it to work. So I just want to say, have a fabulous day. And today is the day for you to think about, is landlord something that I want to do? Do your research. Make sure that you have the resources to be able to afford it. Because once you have that, you don't want to get rid of it. I got rid of mine because I just was like, okay, I don't want to do that. And I remained my property in Georgia. And I made a fat amount of money. I made about 22,000 of the land for the landlord for that first year, and then I made 25,000 off of the sale of it. So that was pretty good for 13 months. Yeah, 13 months. I didn't mean for it to be a flip, but it was. The rest of the property, in the last 3 years, I made $40,000 in the Augusta rental property, because it's clear, free money, So I made $40,000 in 3 months off of that. 3 years. I wish it was 3 months. 3 years. So you look at the ebbs and the flows. My voice is really going out because I have some little sinus things. But I want you guys to have a great day, great day, great day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'm really getting ready to transition to vacation mode. Have a wonderful day and listen. Someone says I'm a big blessing. Thank you, D. Willis. I want you guys to, I'm gonna turn this back on. Lately, I haven't been turning on the videos, but I want to turn this one back on. It takes a couple of hours, and it'll be available to you guys to review. It's the best thing in the world. I bought that property in Augusta for $69,900 in 98, and I've made over $100,000 on rental income from it. I mean, really, yeah, like for real, for real. It has been a blessing, but it's a good structural sound place, and the only thing I really had to pay for was an air conditioning unit. So, and I know that I'll eventually have to do a roof, and every year I have the guy to come. He's like, this doggone roof go outlive you. He's like, every time a big storm come, I say, get up there, see. I just thank God to have a good structural sound property. So what I'm saying to you is, don't listen to all these people on TikTok and get yourself out there. If your personal finance is not together, don't be trying to go get another property because you're just robbing Peter to pay Paul. Listen, I'm financially consumer debt free. In 3 years, I've been able to amass $130 in my savings, and this is above and beyond my TSP of $30,000 that I pay. In 3 years, $130,000 that I've been able to save because I'm consumer debt free 3 years ago, remember? And so I said, let me challenge myself. Let me see how much money I can save and invest. And so what I'm saying to you, that 130 plus 120 that's going into for 3 years, that's a lot of money that I've been investing and I've been able to save. So look, be prepared. Don't get out there and get in a bind. You guys have a great day. I got to get ready so I can get ready to get on this flight. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.